Today I'm going to show you how these 3 rubber bands and that sloppy drawing behind me are going to determine how much weight you're going to lift or not in your next workout.
It's cool, young Reese.
What's up everybody, Jeff Cavalier, ATHLEAN-X.com. We're going to talk today about how you can maximize your strength at every workout and not allow yourself to lose your potential strength because you're doing the wrong things before you work out. We're going to show you how stretching before a workout, the wrong kind, can actually make you lose strength, how your overall flexibility can impact how much you lift, and also the type of exercises you're doing. So let me start off right here, kind of breaking out the 8th grade biology book. But I want to show you inside of a muscle. This is an actual contractile unit of a muscle fiber. So this is what's going on every time you flex that bicep or any other muscle to make it go from an elongated position to a flexed position. What we have are 2 protein components. We won't get too much into detail here, but actin and myosin. This being myosin, this being actin. And the way that a muscle contracts is that it's a chemical reaction, but these little links here, these little lines, these red lines, are attached to the actin fiber right here. Now, these will actually act like a ratchet. So when we start to contract, these things all kind of turn this way, down this way, okay, and they pull this in so that what you're left with is this. A longer line in here, and then this is closer. So basically, when you contract, these little pieces of the myosin are grabbing on and pulling the muscle in and sliding it in this way. All right, that's as much as I want you to know, because what happens is when we stretch too much before a workout, remember, this whole thing is relying on the ability for this black line to be able to connect to that red line and pull together. If you stretch too much before you work out, let me show you what happens. All of a sudden, the black line sits out here like this. Okay? Out here, because we've stretched everything further apart. So now, what happens is these red lines no longer can link onto this black line. It's too far away. You can see even this last little piece here can't reach on here. So there's nothing to grab onto and there's nothing to pull or cause a contraction. So what does all this mean for your ability to work out and work out with the most strength you can have? The fact is, if you're doing static stretching, holding for a minute or so or 2 minutes before, even sometimes as little as 45 seconds or 50 seconds, you know, before a set or before your workout of the muscle you're going to work out, you tend to cause this disturbance in the relationship between the length relationship between these 2 elements here. So when you go to try to work out, you just don't have the strength, and it was nothing that happened anywhere else. You could have eaten properly, you could have slept properly, but because you did your static stretching before you worked out, you screwed this up, and now you're not going to have the strength there. Now, will it bounce back? Yeah, it will bounce back, but it's going to take a little while for that muscle to recuperate, start to link up onto here. This will start to sink back in here a little bit more so that at least these first 2 can grab, and then they'll try to pull that further and further. But, again, it takes a while for that to link up, and it may not link up right away, so your strength is not where it should be. So that's lesson number 1. Now, let's break out the rubber bands to show you the next thing. How your overall flexibility can hurt what you do. Well, it's all about, with ATHLEAN-X, developing what we call elastic strength. That's powerful, elastic, functional strength. I have 3 rubber bands here. This one is one of those little short ones. I don't even know if you can see it, but it's the kind that you would kind of, I guess, put in your hair if you had hair, you know, to tie it back, or like a braces rubber band. You can see that it's very tight. There's not a lot of room to play with here. This kind of represents the big, bulky bodybuilder. The guy that doesn't, even though it's small, it doesn't have that flexibility, the ability to generate enough tension so that when I try to shoot it, it basically drops right down to the ground. Okay? On the other end of the spectrum, we have our sort of hard gainer body type, the guy that has a lot of flexibility but doesn't really have a lot of muscle or strength behind it. So that what you get when you try to develop tension here is it tends to just sort of, again, flop straight down because there's not enough tension to support all of that length and flexibility of the muscles. But when you have your ATHLEAN rubber band, okay, when you have this perfect relationship of strength and tension and length, right, we have the ability to then take our muscle, which is already kind of strong and tense, stretch it because we have that flexibility built in, and then shoot it very quick, very powerful, very explosive, very strong. So that leads right into our last section here is, what are the type of exercises that you're doing? You want to build into all of your exercises the ability to pre-stretch the muscle in a way that we're going to get that rubber band stretch effect going on. You want to have the strength built in already because you're doing the right type of stretching. You want to have your overall flexibility where it needs to be at that perfect balance of strong and still lean and muscular, right? We don't want to ever be non-functional. And when you combine all that together and you're doing the right type of exercises, that's when you build athletic muscle. That's when you build the best body that you can. All right? So, important little lesson here, all put together on a board. The bottom line is, you got to do the right stuff, you got to do the right type of exercises, and you have to have the right type of flexibility. We build it all into the exercises in ATHLEAN-X. So if you haven't already, guys, I know there's a bit of a science lesson here, but it's all built in, I like to say, the science behind the strength into the ATHLEAN-X training system. Head over to athlean-x.com right now, grab the program, start seeing what it's like to not only be strong, to not only be flexible, but to be both, and then ultimately powerful. We'll be back here again next week with more videos. If you like the whiteboard stuff, I know it can become a little bit nerdy at times, but if you like it, let me know. I'll put more of it up there. I'll see you guys here in 7 days. Later.
It's cool, young Reese.